population in those districts. As long as they're just residential, there's no requirement that they be balanced. This comes from a long-time standing conflict between the influence of the university and others within the county, and a lot of people in this county who feel that they are not represented on their county commissioner because of the dominance of that district. That's why we do these electoral districts. And so there are 2 county commissioners that have 3 years left on their term. There are 3 county commissioners have 1 year. The implementation of this ensures that all county commissioners will serve the terms they were elected to. No terms will be extended. No terms will be cut short in that process. And so here's a map before you of Watauga County.
Thank you, Senator Heiss. Any questions for Senator Heiss? Yes, Senator Mayfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Heiss, thank you for explaining the motivation behind the map. Can you just, I don't know my geography of Watauga County well enough to know, but can you just tell us what happens to the main part of the university campus in this map? Is it all in District 1 or is it spread out a little bit?
Senator Heiss.
So it is between districts 1 and 2. There's actually an outlay that they can get you that will actually show the borders of both, but the town of Boone, and that's a little difficult because neither the Appalachian campus nor the town of Boone are kind of this contiguous, the nursing schools on one side of the town of Boone, the university's kind of on the other. As you can see from the size of the district, obviously it is a very compact area in District 1 and 2 that's coming in, but this gets them within the population variances and allows those to be their own district to have a representative of that area.
Do you have a follow-up, Senator Mayfield?
I do. Thank you.
Sure.
So it sounds like the purpose of this is to provide some additional and better representation for perhaps some folks who don't feel adequately represented right now. I don't know if it's the right thing to call them political minorities in the county, but and it strikes me that this is a similar goal to the districting of the Buncombe County School Boards that we've spent a lot of time working on this year. So I just want to say I appreciate the concern for folks who feel like they're not represented adequately in their local government, and I wonder if this committee or if the leadership would entertain bills that would do similar things in, for instance, let's say Henderson County, which is districted, but maybe residential districts. They actually may be electoral districts, but they're drawn in such a way that, again, there's only one party represented in the leadership of Henderson County. So just, again, if the concern for political minorities extends to other counties, and whether you would entertain a bill to address that.
All I'll say is that as these populations have to be balanced, the first time we've actually had the opportunity to balance them is once we had a computer with the data uploaded for population for MapWest, and that's why we're doing this with Watauga County. I don't represent any of those counties, so I couldn't speak to how they want to proceed, but the first time it was available to do this under this was when the data was uploaded in the system.
Thank you, Senator Mayfield. Thank you, Senator Heiss. Senator Blue.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and thank you. Senator Heiss, how do these correlate with the residential districts that the folk in Watauga County had drawn for themselves? I know that population had to be balanced out. If you remember, we did that in Wake County this session. But how does that correspond to the residential districts that were in place before this map?
I could get you a copy of those to kind of what they were, to see exactly where they lay out. It's probably not hard to figure out that the ones in the interior of Watauga County had grown in population significantly more than the exterior of Watauga County, and so the balance between those was getting pretty significant as well. And so as residential districts, this puts them back in the standard variant.
You have a follow-up?
Was there any Any written, published, and publicly acknowledged criteria as to the way you drew them, other than partisan advantage?
Actually, this
I know that that's a
creates-
dual question.
Right. This creates 3 districts in Watauga County that I would say are competitive. That's coming in. I think they fall around the 52, 53%. 2 that are in the interior are probably not competitive for that process. So we did look at VTDs and others. We didn't feel that we kept them as many whole as we could in normal redistricting processes, but you're kind of talking, handful of VTDs in 5 districts, so balancing those did require some splits.
Follow up?
Follow up. What about the towns? I know a few towns up in Watauga. Did you split any of the towns other than Boone?
I do not believe so, but I believe I don't have a stat pack in front of me. I would ask staff if they have divided municipalities.
They're looking into that for you.
Last question.
But I don't think so.
Did the local elected officials, that is, the commissioners in place, sign on to this map or the concept of redistricting them as you have?
The commissioners have made no resolution for or against this map. I've had individual conversations with commissioners, but nothing as a board.
Okay.
All right, Senator Blue, I'll just check with staff, see if they've had a chance. I think Jessica Sammons has a response for you.
Bless you.
Having technical.
Then again, maybe not. The technology is working against it.
I can get it later. So, I mean, I know that it has
no,
no
we
bearing
got
on
it.
the legal aspects of this. It's just curiosity.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you?
It doesn't. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Thank you, whoever turned that on. So looking at the stat pack for this map, Senator Blue, it looks like the town of Boone is split as well as the municipality of Seven Devils.
Okay. Senator Daniel, have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move for a favorable report on this local bill at the appropriate time.
Okay. Let's hold that for just a second. Senator Lowe?
Yeah, thank you. I had been waiting a moment. My curiosity with this realignment, since this seems like the new buzzword these days, are the people in this county asking for this?
So I think that depends on whether it's a technical answer or others. The drawing of these districts didn't start until the data was in. I didn't get an external draw from Watauga County or from anyone else. This was beginning with when the data is available. It is a common concern in Watauga County to the lack of representation in areas outside the town of Boone, and it is something I've heard significantly from both elected officials and from individuals in Watauga County. But no, the town of Boone did not submit a drawing. Watauga County did not submit a drawing, nor did the town of Boone or anyone else for how this would be broken up.
You have a follow-up, Senator Lowe?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But we're taking it upon ourselves to present this to them or to offer this to them or just make it happen.
So that's a comment. That sounds like a
There's
comment.
a little bit of both.
Is there a question in
Yeah,
there?
that's a
Senator
little bit
Lowe,
of both.
I do represent Watauga County in the Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Perry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I think I had 2 questions. I think they've both been answered. Senator Daniel, you indicated this is running as a local bill, and Senator Heiss just answered my question. I think he represents Watauga, so that was it.
Thank you. Senator Sanderson, did you have a question, comment? Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, Senator Daniel moves and for a favorable report on Senate Bill 759. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations. Don't go far. So next, we're going to turn to the congressional map, Senate Bill 757. And Senator Heiss is recognized if he would like to make comments about the bill. As usual, technology is great when it works. Maps are being handed out now, physical maps. There we go. All right, Senator Heiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, members of the committee, I think as they're giving out, we went over on Thursday, 4 days ago, kind of the explanation of each one of these districts piece by piece. I won't repeat that here this morning, but I think we've got a compliant map here. And Mr. President, I believe there is an amendment coming forward.
Thank
That
you.
I'd like to offer.
Senator Heiss is recognized to present the amendment. Has everyone gotten a copy of the proposed amendment at this point?
And I'm working on getting.
Okay. Is it?
They're going to try to get it up on the thing, but I will say this amendment makes a change to 3 districts and 4 counties on the map. Chairs received feedback on Thursday from some of our members who live in and around the military bases of a desire to have the bases united as much as possible in the Eastern District to this map. So this amendment moves Onslow County to District 3. It moves Cumberland County and part of Sampson County to District 7, and it swaps some VTDs around Robinson County affecting District 8 to balance off.
Thank you, Senator Heiss. Any questions from the committee regarding the amendment? Seeing none, do I have a motion from Senator Sanderson, motion for a favorable from Senator Sanderson as to the amendment to SB 757? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. So congratulations as amended on your amendment. We're back. So we're back on the bill itself, 757, and I invite any other amendments that may be ready and available. Seeing none, you got Senator Daniel.
Seeing no amendments, Mr. Chair, I move for a favorable report as to Senate Bill 757.
Thank you, Senator Daniel. So members, Senator Daniel has moved for a favorable report on 757. All those in favor say aye.
Mr. Chair, that will be as amended, rolled into a new PCS.
As amended, rolled into a new
With leave for
PCS.
staff to adjust the short title accordingly to match the new plan name once it is created.
All right. I'm sure you heard that, but essentially staff needs to rename it. It's purely technical.
Just the short title.
Just the short title. Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. So 757 has gotten a favorable as described earlier. We're going to move, thank you, Senator Heiss. We're going to move now to Senate Bill 758. And we're going to start there with Senator Daniel with any opening comments he'd like to make, and we'll follow with an amendment we're aware of from Senator Mayfield, and we're going to allow, even though he's not a member of the committee, Mike Woodard to speak on this amendment here in a moment. But first to Senator Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have anything to add to my comments from the other committee meeting last week.
Thank you, Senator Daniel. Senator Mayfield, you're recognized.
Thank you. I do have an amendment that affects Durham County, and I believe Senator Woodard is here somewhere to explain the amendment.
Yep, there he is. He is ready. You're recognized, Senator Woodard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank Senator Bayfield for presenting this amendment to you. This is a consensus amendment Senator Murdoch and I developed in conjunction with our Board of Elections. Durham had 3 VTDs that grew significantly over the last decade. 2 of them are adjacent. They literally sit on the line between districts 22 and 20. Working with our Board of Elections, what we propose in this amendment is to let the bill reflect the 2 new, each of these VTDs, I should explain, was divided into 2 new precincts. So essentially Durham picked up 3 new precincts that are in effect right now for our municipal election and will move forward. Looking at the numbers and geography with our board, we propose this amendment, which simply moves 2 precincts between District 22 and District 20. It just balances out our numbers a little better and makes for a slightly cleaner looking geography and keeps communities of interest together along that dividing line between districts 20 and 22. And I appreciate your support. Happy to answer questions if there are any.
Thank you, Senator Woodard. Are there any questions for Senator Woodard or Senator Daniel on this amendment? Seeing none, a motion. Do I see a motion in favor of the amendment? Senator Mayfield also moves to adopt the amendment. And so all those in favor of the amendment as described by Senator Woodard to 758, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. So 758 is amended as described. We're back on the bill, 758. Any other amendments ready at this time, proposed amendments?
Mr. Chair, I know I'm aware of Senator Mohammed is working on an amendment. I think it's
In the print shop, Mr. Chair.
So it's in the print shop.
So I would maybe say we take a 30-minute recess and see if that's enough time to get the amendment back.
Okay, so let's go ahead and pass out anything that's ready, even though we're going to postpone the discussion and Q&A about it for about 30 minutes. We're going to recess here, stand at recess until 11 o'clock. And Senator Mohammed's proposed amendment is at the print shop, so it should be back by then. So with that, we'll stand adjourned for, we will stand in recess for 30 minutes. Thank you. minutes, thereabouts. We're going to come out of recess to consider Senator Garrett's proposed amendment to 758. There's a second amendment that we are going to be able to consider, but nobody's had a chance to look at it. So as soon as Senator Garrett's amendment is disposed of, we're going to turn to that, take 15 minutes, and everybody will have a chance to see it at that point. So, Senator Daniel, anything at this point?
No, Mr. Chair, I think we're ready to take up the amendment.
All right, thank you. So, Senator Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment for Guilford County does two things. The deviation on population under the current plan is about 7.5% between districts 27 and 28. So this amendment balances population, brings both districts to 210,000. And also, it doesn't cut some of our historic neighborhoods in Greensboro in half, as the current proposal does. It instead follows Highway 220, also known as Battleground Avenue, and Gate City Boulevard as a dividing line, instead of cutting through neighborhoods.
Thank you, Senator Garrett.
Yes, sir.
I believe Senator Daniel.
I think as soon as staff gets the map up.
We're trying.
Okay, trying to get the map up. Does everybody have the hard copy in front of them? Okay, everybody does have the hard copy. If you'd like to proceed, Senator Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have a couple questions for Senator Garrett, and I guess the first one is, Senator Garrett, was racial data used in the drafting of this amendment?
No, sir.
Does this amendment present any VRA or constitutional concerns that you're aware of?
Well, I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm a small business owner, but to my knowledge, no, sir.
And was Senator Robinson, I know she's not here today, but was she consulted, and did you and she work together in the drawing of this amendment, and then is she in favor of that?
Yes and yes.
Okay, that's, I think, all the questions I have.
Thank you. Other committee members have questions or comments about Senator Garrett's proposed amendment?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Blue.
I do, and I commend Senator Daniel for accommodating Senator Garrett on this amendment. It just makes such good sense, and it doesn't create all kinds of funny, contorted-looking districts. It's, I think, consistent with what the redistricting process ought to be about. As some of you know, I have complained about not just VRA, but equal protection issues in some of these maps. And I don't see that present in this Guilford County array of districts. Equal population, in Wake County, we were forced to have equal population because we just barely got over the line with the 6 senators. But here you got equal population where you could deviate between 198 and 218,000. This gets the population of 2020 almost equal. And I look at the other things in the stat pack. It's not any way a partisan gerrymander, if there's such a thing anymore. I know there's not such a thing in North Carolina, but there is in most of the rest of the country and in all other constitutions, because constitutions are written to introduce concepts of fairness. But as I look at the stat pack, and I just saw this morning, but as I look at the stat pack and all of the other political results in it, you ought to be commended for making this kind of change, and I'm totally supportive of it. I don't know whether there are other amendments that I can vote for, but I would heartily support this one.
Thank you, Senator Blue. Any other comments, questions by committee members? Seeing none, do I see a motion on this amendment? Senator Garrett is moving to amend 758 as described earlier. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is considered favorably. With this, we are going to take another 15-minute recess. Let's just call it till 11:30, a little more than 15 minutes. We'll come back and we'll consider a second amendment at that time, where I'll now have an opportunity to take a look at that. And to the extent they haven't been passed out, if the Sergeant at Arms would go ahead and pass that proposed amendment out to the committee. I appreciate it. Thank you. So we'll be back at 11:30. So welcome back. Sorry for the delay. As we stand here now, the amendment we were going to consider is withdrawn for this committee meeting. Are there any other amendments to be proposed at this time in committee? Senator Mayfield.
I don't have an amendment, but I have some questions. Is this the appropriate time for that?
To whom are you directing those questions?
I guess Senator Daniel, if he's at the mic.
All right. Senator Daniel, whenever you're ready.
Don't have a question yet.
Okay.
You have a series of questions?
I do.
All right, you're recognized for a series of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My questions have to do with some of our municipal areas, and I want to start with the county that you and I share, Senator Daniel, Buncombe County. Can you just explain a little bit to me about the changes to that, which, the changes that you've made in Buncombe County and sort of what the motivation around those changes are?
You can, let me hold for a minute. Let me get my notes at my. Yeah, thank you for the question, Senator Mayfield. So Senate District 46, which is my district, as you know, it includes 2 whole counties, Burke and McDowell, plus most of the unincorporated precincts and small towns in Buncombe County. 49, which is your district, includes all of Asheville and Weaverville. And I know, when you and I talked, you had expressed some desire to want Weaverville in your district, and so this map does that.
Follow up?
Sure, you're recognized for a series.
Thank you.
Ask.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't, just to clarify that, I don't know that I expressed a desire to have Weaverville. I think I probably said that the residents of Weaverville might be happy with the change. But so it is sort of pulling, and just to clarify, the city of Asheville remains either largely or wholly in my district. Is that correct? And now all of the town of Weaverville?
I think, could staff confirm that as to Asheville and Weaverville?
Mr. Chair, if I might. Asheville remains, Asheville itself, the corporate boundaries are split still between District 49 and District 46. However, all of the population lies in District 49. Weaverville is wholly within District 49.
Okay. Thank you. And if I can move to another county, similar question for Forsyth County, again, thinking if I can just ask you sort of what the motivation behind the changes in Forsyth County and the impact on the city of Winston-Salem.
All right, so Forsyth, that's District 31 and 32. Okay, so Senate District 31 and 32 are in the 2-county pod that is Stokes and Forsyth. Senate District 31 is drawn to keep Stokes County whole and the small towns and rural areas outside of Winston-Salem and Forsyth together. Senate District 32 includes most of the city of Winston-Salem, and staff should be able to clarify how much of the population of Winston-Salem is in Senate District 32.
Mr. Churchill.
Mr. Chair, for Winston-Salem, it is split between districts 31 and 32. For District 31, 45,330 people are in District 1 that reside in Winston-Salem. And for District 32, that would be 204,215 people. The total population of Winston-Salem is 249,545.
Thank you, Ms. Churchill. Senator Heiss?
Yeah, I would just point out on the stat pack, 249,545 is in excess of the maximum population of the Senate district, and it could not be contained without being divided.
Thank you. And if I may, I have a similar question for Cumberland County and the city of Fayetteville. And again, sort of the thinking about drawing the redraw there, and how much of the city is kept together.
So I think just, as an overarching comment to all of these questions, just remember that political considerations are one of the criteria and was factored into the map. But the districts you're asking about specifically, I think, are you talking about 21 and 19 in Moore and Cumberland?
Yes.
Okay, so those, that's a 2-county, 2-district grouping. Senate District 19 was drawn keeping as much of Fayetteville whole as possible. City of Fayetteville has an irregular shape and many satellite annexations and shares precincts with other municipalities such as Hope Mills. So in the end result is a district that includes over 88% of the population of Fayetteville and nearly 15% of the population of Hope Mills. So Senate District 21 keeps Moore County whole, and the more rural areas of Cumberland County are included to the extent possible. The irregular shapes, again, of the municipalities and the precincts containing more than one municipality made it difficult to keep all of the municipalities whole. Senate District 21 includes 85% of Hope Mills and 12% of the population of Fayetteville.
I'm sorry.
Did you need anything from staff on that one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you. And then I think my final question, moving down, so I think what's clear is that you've made an effort to keep the municipalities together in these 3 places that we've talked about. And so I'd like to move to New Hanover County now and ask about the city of Wilmington. And it doesn't appear that the city of Wilmington is not kept whole in District 7. And so, again, just want to ask sort of the rationale behind that.
All right, so I think that would be Senate District 7 and 8. So together, those are a 3-county, 2-district grouping. So that's Columbus, Brunswick, and New Hanover. New Hanover is larger than the maximum Senate district. Therefore, the chairs chose to move 6 precincts from New Hanover out of Senate District 7 into Senate District 8. Those precincts that were removed are W03, W12, W15, 25, W27, and 29. Senate District 8 obviously includes the 2 whole counties of Columbus and Brunswick, plus those few precincts that were mentioned.
Okay. And
Any other follow-up on that?
I do, sorry,
Okay,
I guess
that's
I lied. And it's true that if there needed to be precincts pulled in from New Hanover, those could have been sort of any contiguous precincts in New Hanover, any contiguous to Brunswick County. They didn't necessarily have to be those particular ones that you referenced, right? Could have happened down in the south, could have happened up north, could have happened anywhere.
Without seeing the municipal overlay, I assume there would be other ways to draw any map, maybe dozens of ways to draw any map. This was the way the chairs chose to draw it, and haven't seen any proposed amendments.
Okay. And again, I'm just curious about, there have been significant efforts in these other places that we talked about to keep municipalities together, but that was not done here. So again, I'm curious about that decision.
does staff have the stat numbers about, are you saying Wilmington is not whole? And so can you just tell us the population change?
Yes, sir. For the city of Wilmington, the total population, according to the 2020 census, is 115,451. In the proposed map, District 7 contains 88,318 of those individuals, and District 8 contains 27,133.
Yeah, and I think that information's in your stat pack, too.
Senator Mayfield, another follow-up?
Yeah, I guess final question. Can you also, and it's, again, it's probably in the stat pack, but I don't know which of these maps that I have in front of me has it, the racial breakdown of those 6 precincts?
Well, just to remind the committee, this map was not drawn using any racial data. It hadn't been uploaded into the computer at that point, and so staff may have that information now, but I haven't looked at it.
With that caveat, I'll turn to Ms. Churchill.
Mr. Chair, if you'll give me just a moment, I'm pulling up the stat pack
You
online.
take your time. While we're looking for that, Senator Heiss has a comment or question.
I also wanted just to add to the discussion that it is clear in this process that we used political consideration in drawing these maps, and the districts represent the political decision, as they are some of the strongest Democrat voting precincts within District 7, or within New Hanover County, not within District 7.
Ms. Churchill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From the stat pack that is available on the General Assembly's website, District 7 has a total black population of 16,543, which equates to 8.34%. District 8 has a total black population of 36,975, which equates to 17.23%. We do not currently have those available as broken down by split municipalities, but we can attempt to get that information for the committee if that is desired.
Is that a yes? You do desire that? Okay, thank you, Ms. Churchill. Any other comments or questions? Senator Blue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I believe that everybody on the committee, and including the chairs and the President Pro Tem, got a letter from the Southern Coalition for Social Justice in response to Senator Heiss's invitation that somebody provide information regarding the Jingles criteria in the Northeast. I would ask that that letter be made part of the record of this committee, as Senator Heiss invited. If I could, I got a copy. If you need a copy, I won't go through the process of marking it as an exhibit, et cetera, but would ask that the letter that was received by all the committee members, a copy of which I have, be made part of the record.
We'll do that. Thank you, Senator Blue.
Second point I want to make, and this is an observation. We've looked at, as we deliberated in this committee, a multitude of things that are different than the way the committee drew the maps when they thought concepts of fairness played some role in the way that we drew. And just for information purposes, while fairness is not a concept apparently, to my amazement, incorporated into the North Carolina Constitution, since fairness is a principal concept in constitutions in democratic societies for the last 400 years. It is still a concept in the federal Constitution. And I'm simply saying that not only fairness from how you treat minorities, because that's what constitutions are aimed at, protecting the rights of minorities, not the tyranny of the majority quite often. And so I'd point out three things. Number one, this letter from the Southern Coalition is somewhat disturbing that we still haven't taken time to determine the first prong of the decision that we're putting so much reliance on, and that is the Stevenson decision that says you got to have clusters and you got to keep counties whole. So we comment that we've kept certain counties whole in these districts. That's because the Constitution requires it, and that's because the Stevenson decision requires it. But the first thing that says you have to do is what this letter is asking this committee to do. Make sure that you're not in violation of the federal Constitution as it relates to the Voting Rights Act. Now, there's another way you can be in violation of the Constitution, and that is through the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. I say that because this committee, pretty much this committee, has had experience with both of those provisions of federal law in our last redistricting effort, and we're ignoring both of them in this redistricting effort. Whether it was the Rucho decision or the Covington decision, the courts have told us that there's a violation of federal law when you do certain things. We raised a question about, or at least Senator Mayfield raised a question about New Hanover County. You intentionally went into New Hanover County, and it is an aberrational-looking county. It's certainly not compact, and certainly doesn't observe all of the other observations and requirements in your criteria. You went out specifically and targeted black precincts, all 6 of them. The 6 heaviest black populated precincts in New Hanover County, separated them from the rest of New Hanover County, where they've been having an impact as a county and on the elections in that county. And you take them over to a county where they're an insignificant proportion of the voting population. You also, in this map, and I really want you to think about it between now and tomorrow, you've made 2 critical decisions that just eke of unfairness. You've decided in Wake County and Mecklenburg County to double bunk members of this chamber, sitting members. The only 2 places that you decided to do that. In Mecklenburg County, you decided that you were going to put 2 women senators in the same district. And in Wake County, you decided to again put a woman senator in a district that somebody else is well, 2 in fact, but you decided to double bunk one of them in a district that another member in Wake County already resides. That seems to be unfair. First, I don't know whether you got something against women, since they're the only ones you double bunked, or the only ones you put in other districts that they didn't live in. The 2 in Wake County in districts that they don't represent now. And then in Mecklenburg County, putting Senator Sawyer and Senator Marcus together when you don't have to do that. And especially in Mecklenburg County. You got 6 districts in that county. You've created what you consider the political district in the southern part of the county. You've created a political district that you say in the southern part of the county, which still, by the way, is a majority Democratic district. But even granting your creation of what you consider the Republican political district in southern Wake County, you refuse to acknowledge that the two women who represent northern Wake County could still be in the districts that they represent now. And so you're just doing it for some reason. It can't necessarily be political to create a Republican district. So a reasonable person will have to conclude that there's some animus that you have against women. All of the efforts that you've made to create these districts affect women. And I want to make one other point, and I'll shut up. I think that when you look at the Covington decision, which is an equal protection decision, it reversed a Cumberland district that looks like the district that you got now. And the reason I made comments about the Guilford district is that it was also redrawn by a special master because the way you did the black vote in those districts was determined discriminatory and in violation of the Equal Protection Clause. I don't think you got that problem present in the way that you did the Guilford County district. The representatives in those districts don't have any problem with it. They agree with it. I agree with it because of the makeup of Senator Robinson's district, which until 2022 was drawn by the special master. And I will tell you, in Cumberland County, the issue was whether you could take that minority district in what was a Section 5 county, but still a Section 2 county, from about 42% and take it up to 50% as you had done in the 2011 redistricting. You've almost topped that in this one. You've taken it from, I think it was a 38, 39, maybe a 40% district, to upwards to 48, 49% minority. Gentlemen, I guarantee you, there's an equal protection issue there, and I wish you would look at it, just as I wish you would look at this Section 2 violation that you're continuing to commit up in the Northeast. There are ways that you can draft districts that violate the 3 prongs of the Jingles decision. A decision followed all over the United States since we were the cutting edge case in that in the 80s and 90s. So that we don't spend the next 3 or 4 years, or if I were on the 3-judge panel that would listen to this, I would enjoin you from having any election at all on this map. When you're flying in the face of what they've told you less than 5 years ago is unconstitutional. But maybe they'll think differently when somebody brings a case. But I was hoping that we could work through maps that wouldn't keep North Carolina in the forefront of the nation for the next 7 or 8 years, or coming here to draw maps again in the next 6 or 8 months in case the courts in North Carolina, the federal courts, where there still are concepts of fairness and there still are constitutional rights to equality and constitutional rights to making sure that the laws of the country are enforced, that being the Voting Rights Act. Just comments, and again, I hope it's something that you'll look at as you figure what these ultimate maps ought to look at when we have them before us to pass tomorrow.
Thank you, Senator Blue. Other comments or questions at this point? Seeing none, Senator Heiss has moved for a favorable to SB 758 as amended, rolled into a new PCS with leave for staff to adjust the short title. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.